Hi, everyone. I'm starting to see people come in. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Sue. Hi, everyone. So we actually have a full agenda today. We have a group of practitioners here who are so knowledgeable that I'm going to go ahead and get started with my introduction, and people will start to come in as they come in. But first of all, good afternoon. I'm so happy that you've chosen to spend this hour with us here from New Directions and with the Agape Wellness Center. So some of you have attended other pieces of our webinar series throughout March into now, and it's all been about enhancing emotional resiliency. So today we're really excited for this opportunity to actually teach you how to enhance your physical resiliency with this webinar, Beyond the Mask, so that we can all learn how to boost our immunity for our own peace of mind. So coronavirus and other infectious diseases can affect people with addiction more severely because they tend to have a compromised immune system. So even before COVID-19 came into the picture, we wanted to actively work with every patient to boost their immunity so that they could learn how to enjoy a life of recovery with their body, with their minds, and with their spirit. And in addition, the topic of practitioner strategies for self-care is such a front and center conversation. And no wonder, because even before the pandemic, compassion fatigue and burnout were on the rise. So we all know that wearing masks is recommended by the CDC to protect individuals, their families, and their communities against the spread of COVID-19. But what else can we do to increase our immunity and stay healthy even beyond the pandemic? So today our webinar is going to cover a variety of ways that you can both teach the patients that you work with to boost their immunity and stay healthy yourself. And we also have a social media challenge that I'll talk about kind of more so towards the end, but that's in follow-up to today. We want you to take these principles and tips that'll be shared here and put them into practice. So throughout this week until Friday, September 4th, we encourage you to post pictures of yourself on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, with the hashtag Beyond the Mask Challenge. Again, that's hashtag Beyond the Mask Challenge. And post a picture of yourself doing something that you've learned here today on this webinar that will boost your immunity. And each post will count as one raffle entry into a drawing for a free evaluation, set of x-rays, and a chiropractic adjustment with the Agape Wellness Center here in Costa Mesa. So listen closely and think about what you can put into practice this week. So we first started working with the Agape Wellness Center here at New Directions when we had a patient named Mary about 4 years ago. She was in her 60s, and the effects of decades of drug and alcohol use had just ravaged her body. And it was very difficult for her to walk, and the pain of her physical condition, in part caused by the use of drugs and alcohol, kept her using drugs and alcohol to cope. And it was just a tragic cycle. So the folks at Agape Wellness Center, some of whom are on the screen today, worked miracles with her. They were a true care partner for us at New Directions, helping to heal her physically, while we provided residential addiction treatment centers that taught her emotional tools and life skills that together would help her enjoy continued sobriety. So I was able to visit her in her home state on the East Coast about a year after she left, and she truly looked like a brand new person. She didn't have to use a walker anymore. She had a big smile. She just radiated health and wellness. And so we are so grateful that the team from Agape Wellness Center is here today to share tips for boosting our immunity. So I'd like to introduce the panelists from the Agape Wellness Center, which, by the way, was founded in 2000 by Dr. Jennifer Pa'alani with the belief that holistic healing is the key to wellness. So they focus there at the Agape Wellness Center on the whole person, and they treat each individual like family. And I can personally attest to this because I go there. Dr. Pa'alani assembled other like-minded professionals that would complement what she was trying to accomplish. And so the center has grown into a practice that treats the whole body under one roof as a one-stop wellness center, which is actually pretty unique to be able to go to one place and get your acupuncture, your PT, your chiropractic, your nutrition, etc. So Christian Bonte is the managing director, and Sandra Olivas is the office manager. They're here on this call today. And they will help facilitate some questions and discussions after each panelist shares from their point of view. And we really want this to be highly interactive. So please feel free to put any questions in the chat, and the team at Agape Wellness Center will be happy to answer them. So now I'm going to go ahead and introduce one speaker at a time. They're going to go ahead and share some tips based on their expertise. We'll have some discussion and questions, and then we'll move on to our next expert. So first off is Dr. Jonathan Michael. Dr. Michael is a classically trained physical therapist with a degree from Chapman University in Orange, with expertise in injury recovery and movement science. He has spent extensive time working with a wide array of practitioners, from energy workers in the Dominican Republic to sports medicine physicians. Growing up, Dr. Michaels was an avid athlete and was sidelined from college lacrosse at the University of Delaware due to a devastating injury. After 4 out of 5 of the premier orthopedic surgeons in New York City told him he would no longer be able to engage in athletics, he put his faith in the hands of the people who said they could help. So now in his free time, you can see him kite surfing, paddleboarding, or out enjoying nature along the California coast. So physical therapy is a treatment of physical dysfunction or injury by the use of therapeutic exercise. And on this webinar, Dr. Michael will be sharing with us the benefits of movement and motion, as well as ergonomics, especially as many of us are working from home on makeshift workstations. So Dr. Michael, go ahead and take it away.
Right. First of all, thank you, Tanya, and thanks to everybody out there who is so committed to serving our community. We truly appreciate it. So as I'm sure you all know, there has been a lot of uncertainty and confusion humming around in the air right now. While everything feels outside of our control, my aim today is to use my perspective as a physical therapist to offer options that are well within our control, to give us a competitive advantage and a new way to think about the current situation. I've been asked specifically to talk about how physical therapy can help improve the immune system, but I hope to also show that these are just tools that we use to help structure individuals into stronger and more resilient versions of themselves. So in traditional education, we all learn the body as individual parts put together to equal a sum. But as we learn more and more, we see how the relationships between those parts are just as important as the dynamic system in total. For example, when we hear about coronavirus, we think of it as a respiratory pathogen that should affect the throat and lungs. So our treatment and prevention focuses on the throat and lungs. However, the dynamic system tells us that everything is connected. So we know the cardiovascular system being strong and robust through physical exercise brings energy and vitality to circulate blood to the lungs. We also know that when our lymphatic system or our waste management system is strong through physical movement, it clears out debris and circulates it out of the system. We know that maintaining postural and muscle integrity makes the body more supple and viscoelastic, making it able to pull in, filter, and circulate good, clean oxygen. And we know that if your body gets stiff and doesn't get out and move, that the arteries get stiff, the waste management system gets clogged up, and the lungs can't expand to bring that vitality back into your system. So as a human being that is a dynamic system, maintaining all those parts will not only help you feel and perform better, but is the best and first line of defense for anything that the environment can throw at you. So first, I want to kind of discuss the role of posture and exercise in maintaining a robust immune system. So I'm going to go from posture to worry and fear. So worry and fear has long been linked to autonomic dysregulation, which basically means interrupting the body's normal homeostasis. Studies show that increased levels of fear flood the body with stress hormones and limit the body's ability to release natural killer and immune modulating cells. The reason I talk about fear in relation to posture is because through the science, we've been able to tease out that stooped or poor posture has been associated with decreased confidence and resiliency to stress. It also may activate negative mood cycles and greatly limit our ability to recover from those negative mood cycles. So maintaining strong postural strength and habits builds physical and psychological resiliency, which has profound effects on the immune system. Posture is actually so linked to health outcomes that researchers have been able to effectively use posture as an indicator of health versus early mortality, with many of those researchers even claiming that it should be listed as one of the vital signs that everyone gets assessed when they go visit the doctor. So poor posture has been associated with pain, increased stress response, impaired lung capacity, early mortality, fatigue, and decreased mood, while good posture is associated with confidence, health, improved lung capacity, improved mood, and higher levels of energy. And here's the good news. We know that improving posture works systemically to boost confidence, resiliency, immune regulation, and general health. Here's the better news. The effects are immediate and compounding over time as long as the practice is maintained. So think of posture as the IRA of your body. And you definitely want to start contributing before you hit age 65. Because as I said, those effects will compound over time. So some of the tools that we focus on are spinal health, which maintains the disc space, which I'm sure Dr. Sarah will go into more deeply later. Range of motion of the spine and the rib cage, and flexibility of the muscle tissue, as well as increasing the core strength and endurance. So next, I want to kind of shift over to exercise. And exercise is complex, but it's also a much simpler and more well-known story. So research on the effects of exercise on the immune system has been going on since well over 100 years. But the biggest surge in information started coming out in the 80s, and then the most of the research has been coming out 90s plus. So most of our research has come out more recently. And the broad and major takeaways to think about that have been proven time and time again through the research is that acute exercise, meaning exercise done relatively recently, go for a run, come back, is an immune system booster that improves defense activity and metabolic health. So improves your immune system, but also improves all the metabolic systems in your body. Also, that there's a clear relationship between moderate exercise training and illness risk, an inverse relationship, meaning the more moderate exercise you do, decreased risk for illness. Also, that exercise training has an anti-inflammatory influence mediated through multiple different pathways in the body. And that kind of goes back to what we were talking about before. Some of it might be through the lymphatic system, some of it might be through the blood, some of it might be through the metabolic system. Also, that habitual exercise improves immune regulation, delaying the onset of what most people normally think of as age-related diseases. So, if you hear that, when you hit a certain age, you're expected to have a certain disease, it's been proven that exercise can significantly delay that. And finally, exercise improves sleep, which enhances the body's ability to proliferate and mobilize immune cells through your lymph or waste management system, which is your body's first line of defense against bacteria and viruses. And what I like so much about that last one is that the more you exercise, the stronger your immune system, and the more you exercise, the better sleep you get, and then the better sleep you get, the stronger your immune system, and the more you can exercise. So again, you see that compounding effect over time. Okay, so now we're going to shift from physical exercise into some really novel research that's been very exciting when it comes to the immune system and regulating your autonomic nervous system. So Radboud University in the Netherlands just performed a study recently where they injected an endotoxin, which is basically just dead E. coli, into 100 subjects to monitor the body's response, which they deemed the innate immune system. And so that response, after they were injected with the endotoxin, was fever, aches, pain, lethargy, very similar to flu, colds. And then what they did was once they had that set that that's the typical response, they performed the same study on a different 30 individuals, 18 who were trained over the course of 4 days in breathing exercises to improve their lung and respiratory capacity, and cold exposure techniques, which I won't go into the cold exposure techniques right now, but just for 4 days of training, they taught these people how to do breathing exercises. And then what they did was they injected them with an endotoxin right into their bloodstream, and they showed that the 18 trained individuals were able to self-regulate and show no signs or symptoms of flu or cold or anything like that, while the 12 untrained individuals experienced fever, aches, pains, and lethargy. So just to emphasize, after just 4 days of breathing exercises and cold exposures, individuals were able to have a needle placed directly into their bloodstream with an endotoxin moved into them, and they were virtually asymptomatic, being able to regulate their own autonomic nervous system. So Now I'm going to give a quote from Henry Ford, which I think he was talking to, or he was speaking about business, but it works well for the human being too. And he says, "There is no man or woman living who isn't capable of doing more than they think they can do." And I think that when you learn how to harness the power of your body and your own immune system, you become very strong. And when you become very strong, you realize you don't have to fear so much. So moving from that into social isolation. That's the last thing I really want to touch on before we get into some more dynamic stuff. This is a time where people are being told to socially isolate for their health. And while we understand the reason for that, I just want to make sure everyone is aware that social isolation and loneliness has been linked to increased risk of high blood pressure, heart disease, obesity, a weakened immune system, anxiety, depression, cognitive decline, Alzheimer's disease, and even death. So the science makes it clear, but your body knows it's true. When you walk into a room of people you care about, when you walk into a room of people you care to be around, and that feeling comes over your body, it is more than a feeling. It's a physiological process that operates throughout that dynamic system that we call your body to upregulate your immune system and increase your markers for health. So I encourage everyone to understand the importance of social interaction and the opportunity costs of avoiding it. And whatever precautions and preparations need to be made, we all understand, but awareness is the key. So now I want to make it a little fun for you guys. At least I'm going to have all the people on the panel go through a little exercise routine just so you guys can see. So just a couple quick tips and tricks that you're doing while you're at your desk so that you guys can have a tool. Or am I over time, Tanya, or are we good? Okay, cool. So the first one is the breathing exercise. So if everyone wants to join me real quick, I'll coach you guys through it, and we'll just do one quick round. We'll speed it up for the sake of time. But basically, all you want to do is breathe in deeply to your belly. As you breathe into your belly, you're going to pull that air up into your chest. Breathe it out. And we're going to do that 30 to 40 breaths. And then after the 30, 40 breaths goes through, you're going to breathe out, hold for as long as comfortable without straining. So it might be 15 seconds, might be 60 seconds, might be a minute, might be a minute and a half. And then after you start to feel strain, you're going to let go, take a deep breath in, hold for 15 seconds, and you'll repeat that cycle 3 to 4 times. And that is something that you can do on a daily basis to help boost your immune system. Okay, I'm going to give you 3 of my favorite desk exercises. So I'm just going to have a seat real quick. So these ones are ways that you can pull oxygen into your lungs and create space in your spine while you're sitting at your workstation. So first one, you're just going to take your hands behind your head, pull your elbows together, fold them down nice and steady, and then come back up. And we're going to do that 10 times, 2 sets. Next one is called archer rotations, because basically you're like an archer pulling a bow. You're going to hold, twist, and from the side you can see that I'm getting rotation through my spine. And as I do that, I'm pulling oxygen up into the apex of my lungs, and then I'm pulling it out, or pushing it out, pulling it in, pushing it out, pulling it in. And it's almost impossible to have poor posture when you do that consistently. And then the final one, we call this Cactus Arms, and we're going to go wide, spread the fingers as wide as you can, feel your hands open up, and then you're going to drive your elbows apart, big circles backwards, pulling the energy into your lungs, really open it up, create space. You're going to feel cracking and popping, and then you're going to reverse it and go forward, pushing the energy out. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it, Tanya.
That felt great. I heard all kinds of snap, crackle, and popping. So, so Dr. Jonathan, we have I would love to ask you a lot of questions. For the sake of time, I want to make sure everybody's able to speak. So I'm just going to ask one question for now. and then maybe ask additional at the very end once everyone is gone. So I'm just looking at the list of attendees, and a lot of people here work in the treatment field, hey, David, Becca, Jake, Sasha, Vida, and the list goes on. And we are notorious for always being on our phones, and it makes sense because we're always getting those calls for help, usually in the middle of the night. So a lot of times when I see my friends here in person, we're all kind of like this, and it creates something called text neck and a lot of neck issues. So I know you just showed us some really great exercises. What else can we do to avoid text neck?
Okay, perfect question. So I'm actually I know it's a neck question, but I'm gonna take the attention away from the neck and move it into your hips, okay? The strategy to avoid the neck comes from the hips. So I'm gonna pop my shoes off. I'm just gonna make a makeshift setup. So anytime you feel that your head is starting to look down at the ground, you just wanna change your strategy from here to here. And then as soon as you move the hip forward, your head will drop back into place so it doesn't round out. And I can show you on the floor, if you're here looking down at your phone, if you shift the hips forward, it automatically rocks your head back into position, and it makes it so you don't have to think, ugh, my neck, and takes the attention. And we know where attention goes, energy flows. So you start thinking about your neck, you start getting pain in your neck. Start thinking about your hips, you start loosening up your spine. I hope that answers.
Great advice. Great advice. And I love that quote too, where your energy goes, energy flows. Can you repeat that quote?
Where attention goes, energy flows.
That's it. That's it. Love it. Thank you, Dr. Jonathan, and more questions later, but I do want to make sure we get to Dr. Sarah and Dr. Laura. So moving on, let's go with Dr. Sarah first. So Dr. Sarah Alfon is a board certified chiropractor who specializes in treating personal injury and loves treating families, including her own. Her youngest patient was just a week old, and her oldest patient was 94 years old. So Dr. Sarah works with several pain management, orthopedic, and neurological specialists in the area. She also runs the spinal decompression department at the Agape Wellness Center. And she received her doctorate of chiropractic with honors from Palmer College of Chiropractic in Davenport, Iowa, the first school of chiropractic in the world. So for those of you who may not know, chiropractic is an alternative medical profession that focuses on a natural, hands-on approach to alleviate and prevent neuromuscular disorders. So on this webinar, Dr. Sarah will be talking a little bit about the effects that stress has on the body and how chiropractic care can heal and soothe those effects. So Dr. Sarah, you're on. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you there. Oops. You may need to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you, Tanya. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. So I'm going to start with what is chiropractic and why is it beneficial, like especially now, right, with everything going on in the world with COVID. Chiropractors have always used a whole person, patient-centered approach to care. We believe in treating the person from the inside out. So we believe in something called above, down, inside out. We look to heal the cause of what you're coming in with, not just treating the symptoms. So yes, we want to help get you out of pain, but that's not our focus. Our focus is not necessarily your pain, but it happens with focusing on what's causing that pain, and then your body takes care of the pain on its own. So we help the body improve on its own with healing itself instead of us taking medication to heal it. So BJ Palmer, he's actually the founder of chiropractic. He said it perfectly. Medicine is the study of disease and what causes man to die. Chiropractic is the study of health and what causes man to live. So we're always educating our patients on health and always striving to elevate their health and wellness when they're treating with us. So with that being said, most of our, we're going back to beyond the mask. Most of our current patients before COVID, they had health already, and their bodies were already prepared for what was to come. So most of them did not have a fear of the pandemic because they were confident in their body's own ability to defend against it. So I think that's so important, is to focus on your health on a daily basis, not just when something like this happens, already have it. So that's the most important thing. So I want to get into talking about how does chiropractic help the immune system, okay, because that's the focus today. So chiropractic adjustments reduce interference to the nervous system's ability to perform optimally. So anytime you have a repetitive bad posture, or you have a trauma to the spine, or you're too stressed out, or environmental factors, bad food you're putting in your body, there's so many factors that can cause little misalignments in the spine. They can cause abnormal stiffness where the spine is moving as one instead of individual. And it puts pressure on the nerves that come out of the spine. So, all of the nerves that control all the functions of the body come off of your spinal cord, which is housed in your spinal column. Okay, so any little misalignment can put that abnormal pressure. We remove the pressure, that nerve functions optimally, and whatever organ, tissue, cell it is going to bump up its function. Okay, so we're actually affecting the central nervous system with each adjustment. Okay, so sorry. So a successful, what we call innate immune response, which is your body's own ability, is crucial in maintaining this delicate balance between health and disease. An insufficient response results in infection, whereas an excessive response results in prolonged inflammation and tissue damage. That would be autoimmune diseases and that sort of thing. So since everyone has a spine, everyone has an immune system, it's important for everyone to get adjusted. Okay, so, like I think Tanya pointed this out, my youngest patient was a week old. My oldest patient has been 94. So I love to see everyone. And I'm even treating my own children at home, my husband. I think the biggest thing I noticed with my own kids is that they don't get sick like everyone else. They just don't. So important to get the kids adjusted, especially right now. You think, oh, they're at home, they're safe. But again, I think Jonathan touched on this. We're disinfecting everything. They're not getting out, getting exposed to good bacteria. They're being isolated. They're not seeing their friends. So it's really important to get the kids adjusted as well. And it's a different adjustment than what we do for adults, okay? Because that's a misconception as well. So it looks a lot differently. It's very gentle, and they love it generally. So there was a study done in Davenport, Iowa during the flu epidemic of 1918. So I just want to share that with you. 50 medical doctors cared for 4,953 cases and had 274 deaths. 150 chiropractors saw 1,635 cases with only one death. And in New York during the same epidemic, it showed that under chiropractic care, only 25 patients died of influenza out of 10,000 cases, and only 100 patients died of pneumonia out of every 10,000 cases. So data reported that flu victims under chiropractic care had an estimated 0.25% death rate compared to the normal rate of 5% among those who did not. So significant boost in immunity with chiropractic adjustments. So I do want to get into another factor that's so big right now is stress. Okay, so every member of the public right now, especially first responders, healthcare professionals, they're feeling all the different changes. Business owners are feeling all the changes of this global pandemic. And the stress is intense right now. And it's chronic. Okay, so acute stress is actually okay. It's our fight or flight system. So it happens when we need to get the heck out of there, right? So our body naturally knows to, quicken our pulse, help us breathe faster, tense our muscles. Our brain uses more oxygen and we get increased activity. But then when that acute stress goes away, our body knows to normalize. Okay. The difference with what we're experiencing right now, kids and adults, is this long-term stress. Okay, it doesn't go away. There's nothing that signals the body to ever return to a normal state. So we're constantly, our body is constantly with a quickened pulse, and we're constantly breathing too fast, and our muscles are tense, and our brain's using more oxygen, and so nothing normalizes. So initially, people may experience things such as digestive issues, sleeplessness, sadness, anger, irritability, and eventually over time, continued strain on these body systems cause things such as heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, depression, anxiety. So, you know, the scientific evidence has validated that long-term exposure to great amounts of stress can negatively affect the immune system. There was a medical doctor, his name was Wayne Jonas. He wrote a book called How Healing Works. And I thought it was interesting. He wrote about the principles of healing, and he found 3 common factors. And I want to touch on 2 because I think we do this very well here. Rituals he found that people who do rituals helped a person have a meaningful experience and also support of a whole person. So I want to touch on the first thing. Rituals, so, you know, maybe you wake up and you do an exercise routine, or you wake up and you know, do the same thing every morning, you do the same thing every night before you go to bed. I think that's important. And it's also important with our patients here. You know, we get them on a treatment plan, we get them on a schedule, and, you know, they're doing this ritual of coming in every week. Number 1, because they need it, but number 2, because they enjoy it. And they enjoy when they walk in the door, they love the experience that they get. They say it's such a good energy. And I think that's so important right now with everyone being social distanced to get that feeling. So that's number 1. I think we do that very well here. We treat our patients how we would treat our own family members. And I think I can attest to the 3 of us, we all do that. So I think that's important. Also, we support the whole person. So, you know, we're not just, like I said earlier, concerned with what you're coming in with. We're going to look at everything. Okay. So we're going to, you know, when someone comes into me, I'm thinking about, okay, what can they do to get this better? Is it Dr. Laura? Is it Jonathan, Dr. Michaels? Is it me? How are they best going to benefit from what we have to offer here? So, I just want to say something before I close, a couple things. One thing about the Agape Wellness Center that I love is that I can get a patient and I can trust sending them to Dr. Michaels or Dr. Laura, and I know that what we're trying to accomplish is going to happen. And I have like this confidence in them that I don't know that you get everywhere else. Okay, we all have the same goal. We're all treating the root cause of the symptoms. We're allowing our patients to feel this confidence in their immune function and their overall health beyond the mask, which is what we're trying to do, right? So BJ Palmer, I'm going to end with one more quote because I love his quotes. Again, he was the founder of chiropractic. He said, while other professions are concerned with changing the environment to suit the weakened body, chiropractic is concerned with strengthening the body to suit the environment. And I think that's so important right now. And again, our patients, we try to strengthen their body on a daily basis, and their environment is already suited for what's happening. So it's already ready. Okay. I just want to thank New Directions too for what they're doing for the community and these women. They really are an asset to our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much for that. And I actually have a question from the audience from David Cunningham, who's a friend in the treatment field. So David would like to know, what do you think about torque release technique in working with addictions? And if you do use torque release, can you give us a summary of this technique?
I don't use torque release technique. I use, there's an activator technique that I think is very similar. So I do use that. I think with anyone with addiction, it's so important to get their spine adjusted. They've had so many different factors that you talk about mind, body, spirit that have been affected by what they've put in their body. Okay. So no matter how we do it, they need the adjustment. There's so many different ways we can do it. And, I use diversified mainly method, but I do use activator. I use pelvic blocks. So gentle techniques. So for someone who has had alcoholism, especially, it can, or other things can also weaken the bones. We have to be kind of careful with people coming in from the treatment centers because it can damage their spine in a way where it can be weakened. So we do take that into account, and we do use these different techniques based on the person. Okay, does that help?
It helps me. And
Okay.
David, if you have any additional questions or comments, feel free to put that in the chat and we'll address that. And I think we have time for one more question for you, Dr. Sarah, which would be, sometimes I crack my own neck. Now, is it safe to do that?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I'm going to answer why. And I have an analogy that I use with patients that I think they understand pretty easily is if you think of a rubber band, when you're cracking your own neck, you have to do it through one active motion. Okay. So you're taking the rubber band and you're stretching it as far as you can. Okay. And if you think about that, if you did that long enough, eventually that rubber band's going to lose the elasticity. It's going to become flimsy, right? When we're adjusting the spine, we're taking it all the way to where that rubber band can't stretch anymore, giving it a little bit more. That's it. So we're through a passive motion, whereas when you're doing it, you're through an active motion. And what's going to happen over time is those ligaments are going to become overstretched, and things are going to move around too much, and you're constantly going to feel like you need to do that. So those people who adjust their own spines think they feel like they constantly need to do it 24/7.
Right. Makes a lot of sense. Thanks, Dr. Sarah. And now, and now just to be sure that we get to everything that Dr. Laura would like to share, I'm going to go ahead and move on to her. And again, at the end, if we have additional time, we'll definitely get into more questions and answers. So Dr. Laura Capina is an expert on acupuncture and nutrition. While studying Eastern medicine, she became a certified Kundalini yoga instructor so that she could share its benefits with others as a mechanism for reducing stress and bringing balance into life. So Dr. Laura actually has formal nutritional education with some of the world's leading nutritionists, including David Wolfe, Dr. Colin Campbell, and Dr. Robert Marshall, with a focus on plant-based nutrition and superfoods. So Dr. Laura says that wellness is the result of a comprehensive approach to both internal and external factors that create spiritual and chemical balance in the body. And so acupuncture is a method of encouraging the body to promote natural healing and to improve functioning, which is done by inserting needles at very precise acupuncture points. Improved energy and biochemical balance produced by acupuncture results in stimulating the body's natural healing abilities and promote physical and emotional well-being. So today, Dr. Laura is going to be covering nutrition, acupuncture, and how to boost the immune system naturally. And like I said before, everyone, please feel free to put any questions in the chat, and we will get to those just after Dr. Laura shares. So go ahead.
Thank you, Tanya. Wow, you just already told everything about me. What else should I say? Just kidding. So I'm a Chinese medicine doctor. I do acupuncture, cupping, electro-stimulation on acupuncture needles. Chinese medicine has been around for thousands of years, and people been treated and healed with this kind of modalities for a long time, and now it's becoming very mainstream, and even it's been covered by insurance, which is amazing. Which we have it here in Agape. It's been covered by insurance, and basically, so acupuncture opens up all the meridians and channels and stimulates the body's healing, and it's very effective for any kind of pain, any kind of inflammation, headaches, migraines, neck pain, back pain, sciatica pain. It's also, of course, a preventative kind of medicine. That's the difference between Western medicine and Eastern medicine, is that in Western medicine, it was always like symptoms, like, oh, I don't feel good, I'm dying, heal me. And in Eastern medicine was always like, it's all started with emperors being like, okay, how do I get the most strongest, vital? I want to feel amazing. I want to have many babies. I want to live a long time. How do I do this? So they had these doctors, researching for modalities how to promote body's healing. And so everything is about the energy flow. Everything has to move. So this is what we all do. We all open up these energy flows in the body, because every time there's a stagnation, there's a problem. So that's what we do with all the modalities. Like Dr. Sarah mentioned a lot of amazing things, because nervous system just goes, it goes everywhere, every part of your body. And so acupuncture also stimulates these nerves and basically take away the pain signals, but without the side effects of drugs, without the side effects of medications, because all the drugs and medications have side effects. And with these modalities, we do it naturally. So right now, a lot of people, especially what's happening right now, a lot of people are sitting at home and working from home. And yes, the way they sit and everything, and they don't move their bodies. So that's causes a lot of stagnations in the body, right? So it's very, very important, get up and stretch, and all this stress is just really affecting. Dr. Sarah was talking about stress. So my PhD dissertation was on stress. So basically what happens is when your body is in stress, nothing else can function. Nothing. All the blood goes into the muscles, because you are ready to run to save your life. That's what's happening. So all the blood goes away from your digestion organs, from your sexual organs, from your immune system, from everything. So everything becomes secondary. So people live in that kind of state all the time. Once in a while, it's okay. It's good. It can save your life. Like if you drive a car and suddenly car comes out of nowhere and you are ready to react, that's good. You can save your life. But people live like this in this kind of stress situation 24/7. And then nothing else can function. And of course, the immune system is lowered. Of course, the sexual function is affected. Of course, the digestion is affected, and people have problems. And so the world right now is already, even if we don't talk about COVID, it's already pretty crazy. With all the chemicals in our food supplies, and the soils are depleted, and we don't get enough nutrients from our food, and already. But now with this COVID thing, I feel like people have a wrong focus on what's really important. And I think they need to stop watching mainstream media, because it keeps telling them that they need to be scared. And so they are scared, and they're focusing on the wrong things. So all the things what's happening, like wearing masks, social distancing, disinfecting everything around them, sitting at home, that all lowers your immune system. All that social distancing, that number one longevity factor is social interaction. Like if you read Blue Zones, the longest living people around the world, what's number one thing that is nutrition? Nutrition is important, but that's maybe number 4 on the list. But number 1 is social interaction and the purpose in life. So it's called ikigai. So people wake up with a purpose, and then they do their thing, and then every afternoon these 100-something-year-olds, they get together and they are socially interacting with each other. That's one thing. Wearing masks, it's prevents the oxygen of entering in your body. So if you have to do it, absolutely, you go in the store, but when you go outside, you want to breathe. Breath is so, Jonathan did some amazing breathing exercises. Everyone should do these breathing exercises. Another amazing one, by the way, is called Breath of Fire. It's from Kundalini Yoga, where you just breathe really fast through your nose, in and out, and pumping your navel. If you do that every day, 1 or 2 or 3 minutes, it oxygenates your body and balances your brain hemispheres and reduce stress. And there's many, many benefits. But so all these things are important. So people always ask me so how do I don't get sick? you're not gonna not get sick by wearing a mask or sitting inside or disinfecting your environment. For example, when you disinfect your environment with chemical disinfectants, not only they are cancer causing, but also you are killing all the microbes all around you. There's a lot of good, more important microbes that actually help keep you strong and healthy. So there is a lot of studies showing that the healthiest children are children who are playing in the dirt and who are playing with each other. Those are the healthiest children, and children who are, you know, too much disinfectants used around in their lives and who's sitting at home, they get sick all the time. So our focus is completely the wrong direction right now. You know, it's and I keep repeating people. I say, you need to go outside, you need to move your body, get exercise, you need to get sunshine, because vitamin D3 from the sun is #1 thing for the immune system. You need to have a good night's sleep, you need to eat a healthy diet, you need to drink a lot of water, enough water. People are just dehydrated. So all these things matter, and it's very simple. You know, we don't need to reinvent a new wheel. It's get enough sleep, exercise, drink enough water, eat a lot of greens, mostly greens. Greens make you alkaline, your body. So what happens with stress and all these, so from Chinese medicine is incredible. And so all the different emotions affect different organs in our body. For example, stress, anger, like when people get angry, it affects our liver, okay? So fear, anxiety affects our kidneys. Sadness and grief affects our lungs. Worry affects our stomach. So like people who worry all the time, they get ulcers. You know, it's proven from Chinese medicine over the hundreds of thousands of years that's what happens in our body. So all these bad emotions, we need to make sure to control our stress. And how do we do that? Is really exercise is very, very big thing. You know, going for a walk, getting sunshine, even if you just sit, you know, go outside and for 5 minutes close your eyes and just feel the sun on your face. You know, you don't need to worry about the, oh my gosh, sun and this and wrinkles. Like, it's good for you. It activates all the functions in the body. So I'm also a nutritionist, and yes, that's my passion. You know, obviously the soils are just very depleted right now. So we really need to emphasize more bigger focus on nutrition, of feeding our body. So why do we eat? Is for fun or what? You know, some people do it for fun, but really it is to feed our body systems so we can accomplish something amazing in life, right? So hopefully we all have purpose in life. Hopefully we have goals, and in order to feel good and amazing and to accomplish these goals, it's much easier to do it when you feel good, you know? So that's what we do here in Agape. We just make you guys feel good. And it's like, whether it's open up the energy or whether it's giving you some superfoods or breathing techniques or meditation, but the whole goal is to feel good. When you are on that frequency, that's it. That has to be everyone's goal. Because when you are on a good frequency, then that's what you're gonna attract. You attract what you put out. That's it. It's like when you go on a radio, you go, what kind of music you want to listen? 102.7 or 100? You want to rap? You want a classical? That's kind of the channel you are on. That's what in life, you know, you are on the frequency of feeling good. That's what you're gonna attract. And it's easier when you're well nourished, when you are, you know, when all the energies are open and everything is moving, it's easier to feel good. So we have a lot of incredible nutrients here, that, you know, a lot of people ask me, like, what are the good immune boosting things that people can take? So basically, there was a study done. They did a study in Europe, that they tested all the people who tested positive for COVID. They had one thing in common. They were all deficient in vitamin D3. So vitamin D3 is a sunshine vitamin, right? It's what we get from the sun. It's actually not a vitamin, it's actually a hormone, but it gets created in our skin, interaction of sun on our skin with the oils. But most people on this planet in the United States, it's estimated about 70% of people are deficient in vitamin D3. It's because people wear clothes, people spend a lot of time inside, and especially right now. So D3 is, you either get it from the sun or you can get it from the supplement. But it's very, very important to get it. And more darker your skin, like black people, more darker the skin has more melanin in the skin, their bodies produce less vitamin D3. So darker the skin, more vitamin D3 is needed. So very, very important. So there's two kind of vitamins or supplements. There is synthetic, made in a lab, and they just don't, they're not good for us. They are chemicals. They are just a burden on our liver, on our kidneys, on our stomach, and they are dead. They don't have a life force energy that natural substances have. Natural substances have nature's intelligence that just activates things. Like the sun is, without sun we could not function. All the functions start with the sun. Sun activates, like the plants, you know, they grow and all the nutrients get created from the sun. So the same thing, vitamin D3, even if we take a supplement, it will do the same, but it has to be natural. So the natural vitamin D3 is either made from linalool, which is a sheepskin oil, or from lichen, which is natural algae that we have here. It's all vegan and amazing. So D3 is, I would say, #1 thing for immune system. Then of course, like vitamin C, again, it has to be natural, not synthetic forms, but these natural forms are made coming from certain berries like camu camu, acerola. Then we have these mushroom powders. So mushrooms, medicinal mushrooms like reishi, chaga cordyceps, turkey tail, there's several of them, are the most powerful immunological substances in the world. So the antibiotics, penicillin, is a kind of a mushroom. Okay, so mushrooms are fungal organisms. They are stronger than viruses or bacteria. So this mushroom blend is just incredible. It's a fermented mushroom. So fermentation breaks down the fibrous walls, so they become very bioavailable to us. So it's very easy to absorb. So I put this like a tablespoon of this every day in my smoothies. So we don't need to be scared. You know, we hiding behind the masks like that. You're not strengthening your immune system in any way. You cannot hide. So the whole world is made of organisms. The whole world is made of viruses and bacteria and everything. Our body, we have 10 times more bacteria than we have our own cells. That's crazy if you think about it. So people think they're gonna like kill all the organisms around them and they're gonna survive. No, organisms will survive any time over our bodies. So that's always at the end of the world has always been when always all these fungal organisms survive. So this is what we can take, like D3, vitamin C, mushrooms. This is how we strengthen ourselves. And then once we do get sick, then we have some other things. We have some, for example, like alicidin, which is a kind of a garlic. Garlic is a natural antibiotic, and these things really, really work. Okay, so zinc is incredible antiviral. So you probably seen it a lot in the news that they were using a protocol of Z-Pak, which is antibiotic, together with zinc for treating COVID patients with very, very good results, because the Z-Pak was what killed the bacterial organisms, and this is very antiviral. So basically the bacteria gets out of the way, so zinc can go in and take care of the virus. So this is very, very powerful antiviral. Then we have olive leaf extract, which is also very powerful antiviral. Then we have some greens powders, which is like, so basically the whole goal is about staying in balance. So people becoming very, very acidic. And so the reason why they get, so for example, what are the main things that make people acidic is alcohol is one of them, coffee, animal products, stress. All those things make people acidic. But the whole goal for the body is to have a correct pH balance, okay? So we need to go back to the alkaline state. And the way we do that is by proper nutrition, a lot of greens. Greens is what bring us back to alkaline state. Also meditation and reducing stress and breathing techniques again are very important to bring us back to balance. But to be in balance is what we strive for. And when we are in acidic state, the body is just freaking out, and it starts pulling out minerals from our bones and tissue to bring us back to balance, but so that at the same time weakening our bones, and then also causing a lot of other issues like kidney stones and bone spurs and things like that. So that's why staying in balance is very, very important. And I can help you that with, if somebody has specific questions how to do it, that this is what we do here. So I also do this nutritional test called quantum reflex analysis. It's a kind of nutritional test that's testing, muscle test that tests body, see what the body is missing something. So I test every organ and gland point and see where the weaknesses are. So what happens is all of us are missing something, all of us, because that's the world that we live in now. But people who have addictions, they are missing things even more. So because they're missing certain nutrients, because they don't feel good, they are trying to reach for something else, for wrong things. Maybe they reach for alcohol, maybe they reach for drugs or whatever. They're just trying to feel better. It's not even their fault. They are so depleted that they just don't feel good, and they just like trying to somehow get happy, but when your body is fully nourished. And so one big thing that people are missing is B vitamins. And also like people with addictions, like people who drink, they B vitamins are so depleted, they're starting to shake. They're starting to have these shake kind of symptoms. So very, very important sooner than later to replenish the body with these things that are missing. And that's what I do. I check for the deficiencies in the body. And then when we find a deficiency, what the body's missing, I tell them, okay, you should take this. And they take that, and the body slowly starts go back to balance, and they start feeling good. So they don't need to start reaching for those other things. So, yeah.
That's wonderful. Dr. Laura, thank you so much. You're such an incredible resource. I do want to share, it is just about 1 o'clock here in California Pacific Standard Time. So if anybody needs to hop off for another meeting, please feel free to do so. We bless and release you. But otherwise, if you do have questions, are you able to stay for another 5-10 minutes for anybody who has questions? Okay, perfect. Well, we actually do have a question here from Vita. So Vita would like to know, so you mentioned eating your greens and being alkaline. How do you feel about consumption of pure organic sulfur crystals to help maintain a more alkaline pH balance?
So sulfur is a kind of a mineral, and some people are more deficient than others in that. So this is what I do with the test, is when I can test if somebody is deficient in that or not. So the problem is that there's a lot of incredible substances out there, and people tend to self-prescribe things, and it's like, oh, this is amazing and this is amazing. I heard that's best ever. I heard that's best ever. I heard that's best ever, and I'm just starting to take it all. And so first of all, we don't know about the quality. We don't know what else is added. I need to see if there's fillers, binders, what's the source, where it comes from, how is it made. All that matters. Somebody can tell me, oh, this is so amazing, but then you look at it, it's like, it's a very poor source. It comes from China, has a lot of fillers added. So we need to know all that. And also, not everybody is deficient in sulfur. I know, and I think men are more deficient in sulfur than women, but it's also like everybody is individual. So that's why I test to find out if person needs it or not. But minerals in general are all what we're missing the most, is what brings us back to alkaline state. That's right.
Great. Okay, well, I have one question personally, and everybody else, if you do have a question for the team, please put it in the chat. So my question is, you all do so many different things. Where does somebody start? Like, you guys offer massage, chiropractic, acupuncture. As just somebody, as a layperson coming in, how do I know what I need to do to heal my body? Where would I get started? And that question is directed to anyone.
Great question, Tanya. In our office, almost 99.9% of the patients are going to come in. They're going to start with our chiropractor, who's going to do an evaluation on them, full physical exam, x-rays if necessary. We also work with MRI company in the area if that's something that's warranted. Our doctor, Sarah, is going to develop a treatment plan for them, and that treatment plan can go several different directions. As you can see, our practitioners are passionate about what they do. So if Dr. Sarah thinks that the best line of treatment is acupuncture or nutrition, or that's what needs to be addressed, she's going to refer them upstairs in the building to our acupuncturist, Dr. Laura, our nutritionist, Dr. Laura. If it's physical therapy, it's going over to Dr. Michaels. Or if maybe they just need to start with some massage or some decompression, she'll create that treatment plan, and then she will quarterback which way the treatment's going to go. That's usually how it starts in our office.
Gotcha. That's great. That's great. Okay. Well, if anybody does have questions, I know, Christian, you put your contact information there in the chat. I feel free to reach out to Christian and the team directly. And as I mentioned earlier, we are actually so excited to have a social media challenge connected to this webinar. So all of you, please be sure to use Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, use the hashtag Beyond the Mask Challenge this week, and just post a picture of you doing one of the tips that our friends here at the Agape Wellness Center mentioned today, whether it's enjoying a healthy, nutritious meal of greens, taking a socially distant walk outside in the sunshine, setting up an ergonomic workstation while you're working from home, or doing one of the exercise that Dr. Jonathan showed us. So all of the entries, again, will be entered into a raffle for a package from Agape, including a eval, x-rays, and a chiropractic adjustment. So you definitely don't want to miss out on that. If any of you have any questions about New Directions for Women or would like to know more about our addiction treatment program, feel free to reach out to me and we'll schedule some time to chat. Same goes to Agape Wellness Center. Please stay in touch with us. And we're just looking forward to it. Have an amazing week, everyone. And we'll see you on social media for the challenge.